Welcome, friends of Crawford, to this lovely sunny Wandesford Quay, and I'm sitting here in one of the new parklets, one of these beautiful spaces, green spaces that have been brought into our urban streets, and they're made by none other than Bench Space in collaboration with Cork City Council. And if you remember, Bench Space is the studio that our recent Emerge exhibition winner, Alexandra, will be setting up her space in conjunction with that Friends Award with Cork Craft and Design. So I'm here today to bring you inside to see this exhibition, Beyond Survival, and Peter Nash is involved in this, and we've been looking at his work recently as he was acquired for the National Collection and as he's exhibiting currently in our own menagerie exhibition inside in our own Crawford Gallery. So let's pop inside and have a look at Peter's work. Welcome, friends of the Crawford, to a CorkAbout, and we're back out in the streets again, and this time we're in Studio 12 of the Backwater Artists Studio on Wandesford Quay. And delighted again because, just as luck would have it, we came here to see an exhibition that Peter Nash is involved with, and just so happens that Peter was here when we arrived in the door. So very lucky. Great to see you again, Peter. How are you keeping?
Good, thank you, Michelle.
Very good. And this is the Beyond Survival exhibition, Peter. And I'm standing alongside what could only be, it's just most drawn to it because it's most definitely Peter's work and very similar to the carving that we had seen and his meticulous attention to detail. So Peter, I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about this exhibition that's running here until Friday at 5 p.m.
Yeah, okay. So this exhibition is called Beyond Survival. It's curated by Maeve Lynch, who is the gallery and outreach director or manager in the Printmakers, which the Cork Printmakers are based upstairs. This is the Wandesford Quay complex, so we have the Lavic Gallery, Backwater Artists Group and Cork Printmakers all together here. And this exhibition, so Studio 12 and the Backwater Artists Group have been running this whole programme of events called The Human Animal, and this is one of the exhibitions in the programme, which is in response to that. So we have in here, I think there's 4 artists. So there's Lynn-Marie Dennehy, 5 artists, Imogen McCormack, there's my own, and there is Noelle Noonan and Catherine Hare, and they are a collaborative art duo, and so they're involved as well.
Fantastic. And you mentioned that it's in response to the human animal. I'm just thinking back to our own exhibition inside at the moment, Menagerie. Tell us about the human animal and the connection to a book there that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it's I think it's by Desmond Morris. What would his role be? Somebody who studies humans? I don't know. What's that? Not zoology, it's something else. Yeah, but anyway, so I think his whole thesis was, it's a book from a few decades ago now. His whole thesis was that we are basically animals as opposed to something separate from the animal kingdom. Yeah. So
it's getting back down to the origins of things again, I suppose, and is it through the evolution? So in your work here, are you connecting it with that animal and getting back to where we all came from, or could you tell us a little bit more about this form that we're looking at here?
Yeah, no problem. Well, my work was selected by Maeve. It was existing work, so it fit what she was trying to do with the exhibition. So this piece that I made here was actually, it was made in conjunction with those etchings. So I made a series of 5 etchings, and whilst I was studying the anatomy from which to make the etchings, I was kind of making alongside them, like making as a way of understanding. Yeah. So I started kind of making basically to draw back from, and then finding reference drawings and images, and then making from there, and then drawing back from the making process. So that's how this whole piece came about, really.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about that previously in your part in the menagerie, and you were saying that when you were doing the domestic animal, that there was not quite as amount of detailed illustrations for you to draw from, so some of it had to come from yourself. But I suppose you referenced it through a lot of, I suppose maybe medical or anatomical books for this work, did you, Peter? Or?
Yeah, I didn't have too many. It was again kind of similar process. I try and keep my references quite select, because otherwise you can, like, there's so much information, you can nearly freak yourself out, or like things don't match what you're trying to do. So I actually had a few drawings that I'd done in museums and from books, and I was trying to just refer to those, just because I can understand my own drawings and translate those into 3 dimensions, I think, easier than if I was trying to do it from a different source, because I've actually, do you know what I mean? Like, I've drawn them myself, so I I can translate them a bit easier.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And tell us about, what are you working on at the moment, Peter, or what have you, some other exhibitions coming up in the autumn now? Would we see your work anywhere over the next few months?
No, actually nothing coming up set in stone. I'm doing quite a bit of teaching at the minute, workshops, that kind of thing. So I'm working downstairs in the Printmakers with a young print collective. We're doing etching workshops, so they're producing their own etchings, and they're brilliant. Like, they're really talented. And I'm doing a little bit of animation, that kind of thing. I'm just actually back in the studio, enjoying being back in the studio and making and experimenting.
And you have the space now, because I remember you mentioned previously that, it is quite confining in trying to work from home. So it must be wonderful to have your studio space back again at the moment and be able to work on larger pieces and to close the door on the mess that you've made without having to look at it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Like, it's absolutely fantastic. I've got such a brilliant space up here. Like, and I have my studio space upstairs. The Printmakers is downstairs. I can go between the two, making, and exactly that, like, close the door and go home and relax at the end of the day. Yeah.
Well, listen, do check this out, friends. It's here until this Friday, 5 p.m. You can book it, and we'll send you the link on the mailing for your booking. And I want a sincere thanks to Peter. Again, as he mentions himself, we've dropped him in the deep end, arriving unannounced. And as always, you've been a pleasure to talk to Peter, and you're just, your work is a joy to behold. It brought a smile onto our faces again when we walked in the door, instantly recognisable. Thank you very much for your time, Peter Nash.
Thank you.